Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Comedy.law podcast. I'm Max Langley, and with me, as always, are Shirelle and Keith. Today, we've got a special guest, Jeffrey Savage of Chubb. Jeffrey.
Comedy.law, yeah, we're here to play. Max, Shirelle, Keith leading the way. Lawyers with laughs and jokes to slay. Tune in, folks, it's Comedy.law today.
Jeffrey, tell us a little bit about how the transition works from doing oil and gas for so long and then switching over to surety law.
Yeah, so thank you for having me, and pleasure to be here. So yes, I've been with Chubb for roughly 2.5 years. Prior to that, I was handling claims and claims litigation for Exelon, and I did that for approximately 19 years. And so, it was an interesting jump for me in terms of the types of matters, the types of claims, the types of litigation that we handle here at Chubb, as opposed to what I handled when I was with Exelon. So the jump has been interesting in the sense that you have with surety, the matters are always triangulated with the principal, the obligee, and the surety. Whereas with a lot of the matters, the claims litigation is just basically two parties. So that was an interesting realm for me with the triangulation as opposed to the two-party matters that you handle in the normal setting of property and casualty. So that's one of the biggest interesting differences that I've seen.
So, Jeff, just a quick question. How easy was it to make the transition? Were there any similarities with the oil and gas and the surety, or were they very drastically different? I know you did mention like the triangulation, but was there anything similar or no?
Yeah, there is similarity. There are similarities, rather. Yeah. So, there, as far as dealing with basically your principal is like your customer. So dealing with them and kind of sometimes having to hold their hand or explain why we have the problems that we're having. It's similar in that, when you have an insured, you have to explain to them, the nuances of insurance, of how it works, and how, what can be expected, what can't be expected. And so there are similarities as far as from a customer service based issue from my perspective.
What I want to ask about, Jeffrey, is, bet the company litigation. We're going to be talking about this movie, The Burial, and
Yes.
it's about what turned out to be Bet the Company. When do you get involved with fairly sizable disputes, and when did you get involved, and what similarities do you see there?
So, like I said, I mean, with working for Exelon and handling claims from an energy perspective, they're similar to insurance claims. Like I said, with the two-party realm that you have in property and casualty. Um, I've handled some matters that were on from a government. So one of our customers was a government entity. Um, so I've handled matters where they've had large outages, which surmounted to millions of dollars lost, and where they put in claims and it was denied, and then there was a civil action filed. I've had fatalities, which is something that's another difference. Just kind of backtracking, that's another difference between surety and property and casualty. You get fatalities, you get dismemberments, you get there are various aspects of injury cases coming across your desk. Um, but I mean, as far as the large cases, you have the one case that I was mentioning with the large government entity that filed suit on Exelon, one of their subsidiaries, that I was handling a matter for. And as opposed to, let's say, a matter that I handled with with Chubb where our principal had to sue and then was countersued, and we were named as a co-defendant in that countersuit. And again, going to trial and basically, was there for jury selection. It was a 6-week civil action. The triangulation piece was somewhat new to me, and it was very, very, with walking into a courtroom and there's 35 attorneys there, we only had two, and then our principal had about, I want to say about 12 or 13, and in a similar fashion, the obligee had the owner of the refinery that our principal was tasked to build. They had about the same amount of attorneys. So I've never seen that kind of circus before.
Wow. So what made you pivot from the oil and gas into surety?
I had some friends in Chubb that wanted me to come over. They've been wanting me to come over for a while now. And I kept saying no. I was doing well at Exelon. But again, it got it as I led up towards saying yes. My role with Exelon as a senior senior claims manager, started to become a little, let's say, it was a little monotonous. I'll put it that way. And I said, you know what, let's roll the dice and see what happens. And I can honestly tell you, it's been the best move I've ever made.
That's great. How much of your time do you do virtually, remotely, and how many times do you come into the office?
Great question. So when I started it, we were in a hybrid format, such that we were in 3 days and home 2 days. But now we're at a format where we're in the office 4 days and home 1 day. Now, anybody who's a senior or director or VP, they would like you in the office 5 days a week, but normal people are still exercising that 4-1 hybrid, as far as 4 days in the office, 1 day at home.
You mentioned the surety triangle. Is it a right triangle or is it an equilateral triangle? What type of triangle is the surety triangle?
I want to say it's a right triangle.
Exactly. Yes.
Yes.
You're right. You're right.
Too many
Yes.
people said equilateral when I asked this question.
I
And I'm
can't
like,
say
it
it's
is not an
equilateral.
equilateral triangle.
It is not equilateral. So we're on the same page there, Max.
Yeah. Because the surety's off to the side. That's it, guys. Yeah.
Okay.
Talk about a little bit, trying to resolve disputes, your role in trying to facilitate resolution short of a trial or an arbitration.
Yeah, great question. I just had a matter down in North Carolina where, not to get too specific and keep it high level, where our principal uh, left the job or stopped working because they weren't getting paid. The obligee was I guess it was the officials from the county where our principal was tasked to build a water
I knew he was going to cut out.
filtration facility. And
Yeah, he's breaking up a little bit on my end.
On paper, we came to a resolution, but we still want to see that's still in the process of materializing.
We can talk.
Well, I liked Ray. I don't really have a favorite.
Oh, you like Ray? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not like a huge
You're not a huge Jamie Foxx fan?
no, I like him. I appreciate his stuff. Like I love the Jamie Foxx show, but I wouldn't say I'm a fan. Like I root for him, I guess. But what was that other movie where it was like, was it military or something? And it was it? I think Jessica Biel was in it.
Yeah.
Is that the right movie? I like that one too. I forgot the name of it.
I think he did really good in Collateral, and then obviously did amazing in Django Unchained. That was
Yeah,
Django Unchained was chillingly good.
Oh,
yeah.
that was really good. Yeah. Did Jeff make it back in?
He's still blacked out right now, so let's just let it kind of propagate.
Okay,
There we
there you
go.
guys go. I lost you for
There we
a
go.
few
He's
seconds.
back.
Okay, I don't know where I cut off, but I'm happy to start
All right.
All
over.
We
right.
lost you right about where you were talking about North Carolina. So just FYI.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah. So I had
What
a
happened in
matter.
North Carolina, Jeffrey?
I beg your pardon. Say that once more, Max.
A few moments later.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh, just what happened in North Carolina? That was the question.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we had a matter where one of our principals walked off the job
Yeah.
Yes.
because they
Yes.
weren't getting paid, and because the obligee or the owner was
Ah,
We
one of
lost
the
him again.
counties of North Carolina.
it was at
Um,
least a
Yeah.
9 for me.
I was
Ooh, it
9.2.
was real high for me.
What do you give it
Um,
on your honesty scale, Shirelle?
I would say a 9. It was good.
A
I mean,
9?
I was engaged basically from the beginning, and I was thinking to myself, I said, "Oh, Max picked a good movie this time."
No, that was a really good movie. That was a very
Yeah,
entertaining movie.
right. It's actually one of the more fun true stories that I've seen. Like they made it more fun and less like I don't want to say boring, but serious. It was actually like there were funny parts in there. I mean, Jamie Foxx was good. I love Tommy Lee Jones. Like he's one of my favorite people to
Mm-hmm.
watch.
It was a very interesting, I'd never heard of it. It's a 2023 film, and I really have never heard of Willie Gary. And Jamie Foxx did a great job of portraying him. Really great job.
I got into it better because it's based on a true story, so I was able to be, more engrossed in the movie. Whereas with some of the ones that we picked, it was like those are just pure fictional. Those are a little harder to get into for me.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's loosely based on a true story, but I agree. Some parts weren't correct, but it was a great story.
yeah, and I like to know what happens after. You know what I mean? Like I always have that. Like, well, what happened to these people? So I like being able to go back and go later and look and see. Like, oh, this particular. I think O'Keefe. They basically helped minorities or disadvantaged people.
Yeah.
They donated a lot of money to that. I'm not sure what capacity, but it was just nice to know that. Oh wow, they really did keep up the cause.
They did. They did. It was a big deal. And the fact that, I mean, he got into problems because of kind of a fraud in his company. It wasn't his fault. And then the buyer ended up going bankrupt. So it was a very fascinating story.
I like the part about the private jet. I need me a PJ. Private jet.
Mm,
You probably need a yacht too.
Yeah, I need a yacht where I do
right.
$40 a head lobster.
I mean, and even when the owner of I guess the company, that was on the defensive side, I don't know when he said when Jamie Foxx's character asked him like, did you feel bad or something like that, knowing that you were taking money from
Yeah,
all people,
I
and
like
he
that
just
part.
straight on said no, and
No.
it reminded me a little bit of the Jack Nicholson's character, like when he was on the
Yeah,
stand,
Code
It
and he
really
Red.
was,
did.
yeah, I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, I get that it's an actor, but it's still kind of like there are people out there that really feel that way, just take it
There
from people
are.
who
And
care.
the jury didn't like that. That's where they came up with the big damage award and the punitive damages. And so Ray Lewin was never sympathetic, and he was. I mean, Jamie Foxx did a great job of portraying him as very unsympathetic to the jury.
Yeah. And I wonder, is it legal to like have the attorney take the stand like they had O'Keefe's attorney take
No,
the stand?
no,
Okay.
you can't do that. You can't be a percipient fact witness and a lawyer. So if you're going to testify, you better get out of the lawyer chair.
Yeah. Okay. I thought so.
How did he forget that he had a grandpappy in the KKK? I don't know how he forgot that.
Yeah,
Well,
he didn't bring that up.
yeah, if it's not important to you or it's not a big deal or it's the norm, you probably kind of push it to the back of your mind.
What did
I
you
don't
think,
know about,
Shirelle, when he kept calling the black guy boy? What did you think about that?
so
Or son? He said
obviously,
son. I think he said son.
yeah, and like I don't have mixed feelings because I understand the connotation, but I do understand sometimes that's just the way people speak, whether the person they're speaking to is black or white.
It's
But
not
that's
necessarily prejudiced.
right. I do think the person it was coming from was a prejudiced person,
Yeah.
so therefore him doing it did, display his prejudices.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was like, dang, this is like it to just feel that way if somebody talking to you like that, it must just feel like crap, you know?
Yeah, because even like you, for example, Max, you're somewhat seasoned attorney, and maybe someone who has kind of like dismissed your achievements. If they call you son, you would be just as offended. You
Yeah,
know
I
what I mean?
would be. Yeah, I'd be offended.
So, but I understand, like I said, because he was also prejudiced. It was just definitely a prejudiced remark to make.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
had
the
Carl
key
Rove
deal
call me
there
son.
was, engaging the church and having the church leaders sell products on commission. I mean, to me, that was a huge deal, and obviously to the jury, they didn't like that.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't understand how, as a religious leader, and you're a leader of an organization that a lot of disadvantaged people are a part of, like to agree to that. And I guess maybe they made it sound really good, but I don't know.
I mean, you're very, very vulnerable when you're dealing with death and burial and a casket, and I mean, you're very vulnerable. And if you have someone that is a leader tell you, hey, you got to go this way, you're going to go that way. And especially when you get paid 3 times as much as the normal price. And they say, don't worry about it. And that was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I feel like for me, if I worked at that company and I knew that's what they were doing, I don't believe I would continue working there, but I don't know. I guess like the woman who took the stand, I don't know what type of situation she possibly was in financially, where maybe she felt like she couldn't quit, but I just don't know
Probably
that I
not
could
the best, yeah.
could keep, if I could afford it, like I'm definitely going to leave.
Yeah,
I
that was
agree.
the key word. You just said it. If you could afford to leave,
Yeah, but
I
it was
think
a
that.
really good film. I enjoyed it from start to finish. I love Jurnee Smollett. She did a
Yeah,
really good job as the opposing counsel.
Oh, is
Um,
that who that is? Yeah, okay.
yeah,
What was she in? Was she
Mammy.
in something else before?
she was in The Great Debaters. She used to be on
Oh.
Full House. She was Michelle's friend on Full House when she was a little.
Oh.
yes. And
Oh,
she's
okay.
Yeah,
been in a lot
either
of
she was Michelle's friend or Stephanie's friend. I don't remember, but she was on Full House for like a season or two.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear
She
She
did
me?
did a
really
great
good. She was
job
a good attorney.
cross-examining the witnesses and skewered people. That was amazing because she had all the information. So I suppose that's why you need the big team to give you all that information.
Yeah, and they were able to dig into the other attorney's life to find out about the grandpappy. So it pays to have some really good researchers on your team if you want to win.
Yeah, if you're the judge, you probably are not real fond of that, and you're probably definitely not real fond of that whole yacht scene. You know, who owns the boat and how much does the boat cost? But
because
they
it's
were
not
both
relevant.
very influential.
Yeah. It's too influential to the jury and it's not really relevant information in a breach of contract case. So
Right.
the fact that it got in is atypical of what would normally happen.
I thought so. I was like, well, I don't understand why they would even allow these questions to be asked, because it has nothing to do with whether or not he cheated this man or attempted to, like, basically get the guy in a position where his company was doing so poorly where he would just have to sell it for pennies.
Yeah. It only gets in on punitives, on like what amount of damages would hurt. That's what Tommy Lee Jones was saying during the settlement negotiations. He said, I want it to hurt you, you know, like, and that's what punitives are for. They're to deter the company from doing it again. So
Mhm.
it's got to hurt to deter you.
Yeah. He made a good decision, but I think at the end, even though he was awarded $400 million, I think they ended up settling for $175.
Yeah,
When it,
175.
yeah,
He was
yeah,
awarded 500 million.
500. Yeah. Well, the thing too is, I mean, that was still more than what he was initially. I think he was initially offered 100 or 75 million.
50
Something like
million.
that. Yeah. So
We
I mean,
think
he's
50.
still,
We don't know for sure. We never got to see the piece of paper, but the
yeah.
second offer was 75 million.
Well,
Oh, so yeah.
you get the whole deal. It goes from the original damages, which were somewhere around $6 to $8 million, and then Jamie Foxx says, "No, this is $100 million case," and then you get an offer, and then another offer from the company in Canada, and you see it's $75 million, and then eventually it settles somewhere between 130 million and 175. That's crazy dollars.
Yeah. But I'll be happy with 175 million.
Yeah, I'd be happy with that. You could buy a medium-sized private jet,
I would buy an island.
an island
Mhm.
like that. Larry, is it Ellison? Larry Ellison. He owns like 98% of one of the Hawaii islands.
Oh, I don't even know who he is. I'm gonna
He's
have to look it up.
Oracle, that company Oracle. They
Oh,
do
I've heard.
like business, yeah, solutions. But he owns 98% of one of the Hawaii islands, like the fourth or fifth largest one.
Oh, he's got real money, I guess, huh?
Imagine being able to shut out everybody. Just is like you have your own island and it's like a huge island. That'd be crazy.
That would be
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. I'd host
Yeah.
my own surety conference on the island.
Yeah, luckily, I am not impacted, Shirelle, by all that wealth.
Well, I like to test out that theory.
You
Well,
have
they
a
say
you have
they
a
say
boat.
money is the root of all evil, and a man needs roots.
Yeah, we need roots. Jeffrey's pieced out. He's like, I'm out of here, man. I got things to do.
No, I'm right here.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
You
you gotta
guys
love
can't hear me?
technology. It can, when it works, it's really great.
So you guys can't see me or hear me?
And you know, really, the reason that he has had trouble is exactly what happened in the film. I mean, you have a problem where an employee of the funeral homes took the money. It was supposed to be lent to a third party. That person took the money, and here you have a firewall at Chubb that prevented Jeffrey from being able to log in using the company computer. So he had to do a workaround. The problem is the workaround.
I kind of get it because, you know, if I'm a big company, I don't want my employees podcasting. They could say anything on there. Come on, I don't want that.
Well, with a lot of large companies, they prevent you from going out to the internet or to sites that allow you to interact. So you have to be you have to understand whether you're at AIG or Chubb or another place, what you're allowed to do.
Yeah.
But that's, the problem is the viruses that get put in, and you have to figure out how not to have your system hacked. And that's one way is by putting in that firewall.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I guess that's all we get from Jeff.
So what changed Tommy Lee Jones's attitude towards the money? Because in the beginning he was going to accept 8 million in settlement, and then when he got 75, he said no way. Like, I don't get what suddenly made him say, "Hey, I got a third mortgage on my home, and I'm now just gonna fly by the seat of my pants."
Well,
You know,
it's what
I
you said, Max. It's the whole thing of Tommy Lee Jones wanted this to hurt Lowen, and he wanted it to be enough to hurt Lowen.
Yeah.
And I think, initially he trusted the guy, right? But I think after hearing the testimony and all that,
Uh,
it's like, wait a minute, this guy's basically saying he doesn't care if he screws me over.
yeah.
He doesn't care about I worked hard for this and it's a family business, whatever, like once I started hearing somebody talking like that, if it were me, I would just, oh, okay. So I'm gonna try to get everything I can
Oh,
since.
yeah, we go in the distance.
Right. You could have gotten away with $6 or $8 million at first, but now because you basically gave me a big, screw you, then guess what? I'm gonna,
Screw you back.
right, get my money, So I think that's probably more so what it was, more like to make a point, which is the point of punitive damages, right?
Yeah.
So I probably would have did the same thing. And hey, I walk away $175 million richer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he was close to filing bankruptcy, I think, at the time.
Yeah, he was. He was close to
was.
filing. Yeah.
Yeah, so that
He
set him
was.
up, And then they're still in business today, so I guess,
Yeah.
And he did end up getting what he wanted as far as bankrupting the other company, Now
Yeah.
that they're out of business and his business is still standing.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he did. You have a guy from Ocean Springs. Have you ever been there, Shirelle, to Ocean Springs?
No.
So it's right next to Biloxi. And so you have a small town, and you have a small town guy who has built this 8 or so funeral homes. And he kind of had his set of values. And that came through in the movie. When he got roughed up and it was looking bad, he was about ready to throw in the towel. And then he was convinced that there was something more to it. And
Yeah, he wanted to help the Black Church Network. I remember that too. So that's another big thing that, remember when his partner called him and said, there's this extra like thing, so don't settle or don't drop the case. Don't let him drop the case. Don't let him drop the case, because he found that, network that had been affected. He knew that Tommy Lee Jones would want to help them out.
Yeah.
Jeffrey, you back?
Yes, I've been back. Can you guys hear me?
All right. Now we can hear you. Yeah, we've only seen you for 15 seconds.
I was listening to the entire conversation you guys were having about the
Wait,
barrel.
really?
Yeah, and I was actually speaking, but you guys couldn't hear me, and I'm like, can you guys hear me or see me? Because I'm hearing and
No,
seeing
we couldn't hear
everything
you or
that you
see you.
guys
That's
are
crazy.
saying and doing. And so I got to the point. I said, let me email you guys. So I emailed you twice to say,
Oh,
hey, I can hear you, I can see you. You guys can, and I thought my video was as clear as a bell. But you guys could not hear me and see. I'm like, what's going on here? And then I'm looking at
yeah. That's the upload percentage. That's what that is, I think.
yeah.
That's what I was telling you about, that you would have to kind of stay in here for a little while after we're done to get your everything uploaded on your end. You could just
Gotcha.
leave your phone, sitting there.
Actually, the video quality is better now,
So
Jeff.
Yeah,
It's
the
really
quality's good now. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, so I just moved to. Hearing me, I'm like, wait a minute, they didn't hear anything I just said.
We were
So
just talking right over you.
yeah, but no, I mean, you guys didn't realize that I had
So,
reconnected.
so Jeffrey, what percentage do you do that are payment and performance bonds, and what percentage do you do that are commercial bonds?
I want to say about 70/30.
70 P&P, 30 commercial?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. That's
Mhm.
like the opposite of what Shirelle's got going on.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No,
Right.
right now I do primarily payment bond claims. Um,
Oh, you upgraded.
yeah,
Let me upgrade you.
yeah,
Yeah.
I used to do predominantly most of my claims were commercial, but I don't really have any at this point.
Okay.
Oh, okay. A lot of payment bond claims. That's fun.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I like to do some performance stuff too, and
Mhm.
hopefully I can pick Jeff's brain at some point when I when I get some.
Oh, I'd love for you to reach out to me. Now you have my contact information, and I'll
Yeah.
provide my,
Okay,
Are there
sounds
any
good.
books that you like, Jeffrey, for payment and performance bonds? Do you like the like ABA's payment and performance bond manuals, or what's your kind of favorite books on that?
I don't know if I have a preference as far as any literature on specific to in the payment or performance bond. So that's interest. Those are always interesting reads to me.
Oh, so Jeff, oh, sorry to
Yeah.
cut you
No,
off.
no, no. Go ahead. What were we gonna say?
I was just gonna ask about your I guess journey as you're on the executive level. Like what was that journey like for you? How did you get there? Do you have any tips on? I mean, I do have aspirations, so
Yeah,
I was just
absolutely.
to know, like, if you had any tips or just if you want to talk a little bit about what that journey looked like.
Yeah. So, like I said, the journey started. There was a class action lawsuit that was being leveled against by the Supreme Court of the state of New Jersey, and I was part of that team that helped task to determine if the policyholders had an actual claim or not against unfair sales practices by the agents. And there were about 1.7 million claims across the United States, but there are 4 offices across the country that were handling that matter, including the Eastern Home Office, which is in a place called Dresher, Pennsylvania, which is a suburb of Pennsylvania. And so that was my segue into insurance. And then from there, I went to Exxon. So I handled so those subsidiaries with Exxon. You have Delmarva Power, you have Baltimore Gas and Electric, you have Commonwealth Edison, you have Eco Holdings, you have Lansing. So there's a number of energy companies that are sprinkled throughout the Northeast corridor and nuclear nuclear setups throughout the Northeast corridor. So, like I said, I handled a lot of the claims and claims litigation for those companies. So that was my segue into it. So just kind of taking baby steps at first, Shirelle, with getting into the insurance side and handling the insurance side from an energy perspective. But the thing is, you have to employ insurance practices, risk management practices, knowing, getting familiar with the infrastructure for utilities, and knowing that, because that was part and parcel. That was, energy companies at their core are the infrastructure as far as utility poles and, transformers and stuff like that. So a lot of that equipment you had to familiarize yourself with, because some of the cause and effect of the damage that a lot of the customers incurred were as a result of the equipment failure, um, and the fatalities. So you had to. So from there, and then handling, stuff for the energy company with regard to that in and of itself, kind of, just kind of taking, not rushing through, but because they say the race is not for the swift, but for those that can endure. From the Bible a little bit. But anyway,
Yeah.
um, so just kind of a gradual process over the past 20 years doing that, and then segueing over to Chubb and just using that corporate knowledge that I have from Exelon and transferring it over to Chubb, where I've been, for the past 2.5 years. I hope that answers your
Do you
question.
think?
Kind of a long-winded question, kind of long-winded answer
No,
to
no. It answered my question. I guess my other question to you is: do you feel like the years that you spent, even with doing oil and gas, was beneficial to your pivot into surety? Where you do you feel like that allowed you to make the transition more quickly,
I
or
think so, yeah.
no?
Yeah, because I mean, even with any, I mean, some, the nuances, surety, like I said, there's a dichotomy between surety and property. Corporate structure is, there's a boilerplate to corporate structure. And so transitioning in some respects was, I could hit the ground running, being in a corporate setting for 20 years. So there are a lot of similarities as far as the corporate structure, as far as the administrative side. So that allowed me to kind of hit the ground running once I left Exelon and joined Chubb. Um, and again, just working through the dichotomy between property casualty and surety. What you would do in certain instances, and just knowing the case law and the rules and regulations that govern each type of bond. And again, it's a labor of love actually, because learning about it is super interesting, and it's something. I
It
mean,
is. Yeah.
I never knew that this massive book of business existed until I got over here. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. And the other thing is this: in surety, I don't care where you are in the United States, your world is very small in surety, as opposed to property and casualty. I mean,
It is very small. Yeah.
once you going off on a tangent here with regard to speaking specifically about different products in surety, but just the culture of surety in the United States is such that once you're in it and you go to at least 4 or 5 conferences, you feel like everybody. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna see you again. I know I'm gonna see Max and Keith again. So we'll just pick up right where we left off from where we last spoke in person. But knowing people where you're in conferences in the Northeast section of the United States, or whether you're in the Southeast or in California. I think both Keith and Max were there when I made my presentation at the ABA conference in La Jolla.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so you get very familiar with people no matter where they are in the country. And if they're in the country, if they're in Seattle, if they're in California, if they're in Florida, if they're in New York, um, it seems like they're just right around the corner from me, because that's how small the surety world is.
Very
Yeah.
true.
It is kind of small. It's a small world, but what I think one of the problems in surety is it's not a diverse enough world. Like we've got good diversity right
Agreed.
here on this phone call, but we want more diversity in general in surety, both in terms of more women in surety and then more people of color in surety. I
Agreed.
think, so how do we promote that, Jeffrey? How do we get that going?
Well, it's funny you just said that. I have a buddy of mine who he's been with a company called South Jersey Industry for 15 years, and he has to take and he handles a lot of underwriting matters for them. So he
Yeah.
literally called me on Monday and said, "Look, I have to take an early retirement. They're forcing me to do it, and my last day is, I think he said, the middle of September. I can't remember the exact date, but I told him, to certainly, with his qualifications and his skill set, to come over. And he's African American like myself,
Yeah.
I told him I encouraged him to go onto the website, see what it is that he would like, and I would, maybe speak with some of the HR partners here to try to get him an interview so that he could kind of transition because his skill sets are incredible. I mean, with handling different types of, and he's handled bonds in some respects as well. So he reaching out to him and reaching out to other folks of color in the
Just one at a time, right?
right, yeah. My grandfather used to say, "A steady drop of water wears a hole in a rock."
Yeah, it
So,
does.
so, so I'm using that analogy to say, yes, you're right, Max. It's one at a time. Yeah, that's you know. So
Yeah, I know.
is how
I know for myself, obviously, African American woman,
Mhm,
not seeing a lot of diversity. I was just trying to think about ways that I could be more impactful in getting other people into the industry.
mhm.
But I'm kind of like struggle with that, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
talking to people about what surety is and why is it a good industry. So how would you, Jeff, like market it to people? I'm in the 30 to 40 demographic. So like what would you say to a person like me who's like looking to transition into surety or looking to transition, period?
So right. So what I did to kind of follow up on what you said. So one of the organizations that I belong to is the Philadelphia Loss Conference, and we meet in a place called Conshohocken, Pennsylvania, once a month, every third Tuesday of the month, and then we have golf outings and stuff. So I do promote surety when there's something opens up in surety. I promote that. I promote it on LinkedIn website. I'm not on Facebook, but I'm on LinkedIn and Instagram. So I try to promote it as much as I can, and particularly when a position comes up. Um, Now, not necessarily just in surety, but in the realm in which a lot of companies use, they're involved in surety. So what I mean by that is there's another instance where one of the companies that we use is looking for a project manager. uh, to him where they're looking for a project manager, and that's what he does. He's a project manager for a company, excuse me, that's a vendor of Exelon. And I know that this would be a good opportunity. So I'm whenever an opportunity presents itself where I can, send something to someone, someone of color, where I could get them to not necessarily the surety, uh,
Construction
specifically,
works too. Yeah.
yeah, construction works. I try to do that. And again, I mean, I have friends from so many different backgrounds. I mean, I grew up very diverse. But to speak to the point of bringing more people of color in, I do, when opportunity presents itself, Cheryl, I try to, and I know that some people are going to be willing participants and try to get themselves in surety, people of color. I kind of go out of my way for them. Um, that doesn't mean
Yeah.
so. And there were Italians, so it was blacks, Jews, and Italians. A few Irish sprinkle here and there, but a lot of those guys they reach out to me, I reach out to them. So it's sort of like a collaborative effort amongst a diverse background of people, but just speak specifically of incorporating um, the opportunity for people of color. Yeah, both thumbs up for me as far as I'm all in, making sure that I at least present opportunities for people of color to come into the surety world whenever.
Hmm.
All
That's
right.
actually a
Well,
good idea.
go ahead, Sherelle.
No, I was just gonna say that's actually pretty. I didn't think of that. I think I was more focused on like surety and surety claims,
Mhm.
but I guess it does make a lot of sense to kind of because everybody might not want to do claims, but
Yeah.
you still kind of want to see diversity in the industry as a whole and not necessarily in just the area in which I work. So
Yeah,
I actually am going to take notes and
right.
keep that in mind when I'm talking to people.
Yeah,
Yeah, because in construction, there's even fewer women. Because like, there's a decent amount of women in surety now, but in construction, women are just so few and far between. It's almost a unicorn when you see one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, exactly. Yeah.
All right, Jeffrey, what did you think about the burial? I know you talked a little bit about it, but we rudely talked over you.
Well, you didn't hear me,
Unlucky.
so it's not your fault. No,
I know.
I was just following up on some of the points that you guys were making, in terms of the folks being taken advantage of, where they were using the I guess the black churches throughout the United States, and
Yeah.
I was talking with Shirelle, and she nodded her head, and I'm like, okay, she does hear me, but you didn't hear me at all. So, as far as people who not necessarily, you made a statement that if you had the opportunity to leave a job that was where people were being used, or they were using companies or churches to gain profit, and the people were being left with the short end of the stick. Do you remember that statement you made? And you said you would have,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I butted in and I said, well, a lot of those people don't have that opportunity to leave if they're trying to feed their families, and they're on their socio economic income level is less than favorable. They have to kind of stick it out, and because they don't have any other option position to begin with.
Yeah, probably
Right.
not.
Yeah.
Right. And, well, that's why I said it that way, because even for myself, I grew up. I mean, I did have two parents in the household, but my father didn't have. He didn't even have a high school education. He didn't graduate. So I do understand the plight of someone who's like has no choice. You kind of just gotta stay there because I need to make money. I have three siblings. My father. Yes, they owned a home, but barely. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so I do understand being in a position where you kind of just have to kind of take what's given to you. And
Hmm.
it's unfortunate that there are people that take advantage of that.
Right. Right. No, I agree. I totally agree. One of the things that I did love about the movie was the the guy that Jamie Foxx was portraying. He was
Willie
historically just,
Gary.
yeah, like he was historically like basically an ambulance chaser. The young black
Yeah.
attorney told him, why don't you take this case? This is a substantive case that you could, where you could
You'd
kind
be
of,
Johnny Cochran.
right, yeah, exactly. And with a lot of, I guess, ambulance chasers who, I guess the cases are not as substantive as the one laid out in the burial. And so
You
when
don't have
it,
to use your noggin as much. Yeah, you don't have to think as hard.
right,
Because
exactly.
remember when Jamie Foxx saw the books, he's like, "Ooh, I like all these books here." Like he's like, "I don't really read books."
Right.
Yeah, but the whole thing was he could relate to the jury. He had common sense and he could communicate, and that was what the movie was all about, was him telling the story that, hey, these people, Lewin, were taking advantage of disadvantaged people in very difficult circumstances.
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that aspect of he kind of looking at this. It was sort of like an epiphany to him. Like, wait a minute, yeah, I've been doing this all my life, but I've never really had a case like this. Let me roll up my sleeves and take this. And you know, he in that movie, you could see him transition to a guy who had a lot of style, a little substance, to where he gravitated to a guy who had style
Yeah.
and substance. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He finally had both. It's like he had both sides of the coin for once.
exactly. So I did love that aspect of the
Yeah.
movie, and I didn't. I remember the key points in the movie. I wanted to watch it again, but I did watch it twice in the past. So I wanted to watch it at least a couple of days leading up to our discussion, and I wasn't able to. But I do remember the valid key moments in the movie, and the points, or at least the points that I extracted that I thought were,
Right.
What'd you think about what he did with the money at the end? Helping out the poor network of people, predominantly minorities.
yeah, that was
That's a
beautiful.
good
Yeah.
use of the money.
Yeah, and see, that's what that would go. That's what moves towards my point of him having more substance towards the conclusion of the movie. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep,
Mhm.
definitely.
And it helps that justice was served. For me, I'm
Yeah,
all about like
Justice was served.
doing what you do.
right, exactly. Yeah, and I did like Cheryl. You did point on Jolie Smollett, her role in the movie. I loved her in the movie. I've seen her in
Yeah,
a few other. I didn't. You know, you said that she was somebody's little play friend in one of the sitcoms or something.
Full
Um,
House.
right. Yeah, Full House.
right.
Yeah,
I don't remember her
yeah,
from Full House because I did watch that. But she played in another movie with. She had a little girl, and it was a really powerful movie. I can't think of the title of it, but when I what was
was it on Netflix?
yeah, it was on
I think it
Netflix.
was Netflix.
Yeah, where she has a little girl, and the little girl's grandmother is she doesn't the little girl doesn't realize that's her grandmother, and the grandmother's like hard nosed, very brass, very stoic, in a situation where they were being hunted or something like that. She was in it, but she's been in some other substantive movies too. So, but yeah, I'll shoot
Yeah,
that to you. She's a great
she's
actress.
a good actor.
Yeah,
Like, I like her. I
I'm,
liked her in
I'm,
The Great Debater.
I'm like her brother.
Yeah, I mean, I
He
think
got into
at
a
some
little bit of trouble, right? I heard a little bit
Yeah.
about
yeah,
that.
hmm
Yeah.
yeah,
Jesse?
Jesse Smollett.
right,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah,
basically lied.
Yeah,
And said that.
little fib,
Yeah,
little white lie.
yeah.
yeah, a felonious fib. Let's put it that way.
A felonious fib. I hate when that happens. I like mine to be misdemeanor fibs or
Yeah,
less.
yeah.
It, Max, is that malum in say?
It's malum prohibitum.
Mal
Oh,
Behoodrum, yeah.
All right. I think we're wrapping up this episode because our editor hates it if we go an hour. He's
Okay,
like, "Why would you do this to me?" He just turned 18, so I'm like, "You have plenty of energy. You can edit an hour. It's okay."
awesome.
Uh, but his name's Blaze. He's an awesome guy. He's our law clerk too, so he's learning about the legal aspects as well
Okay,
as the video aspects. He says that he wants to win an Oscar and an an Academy Award and a Supreme Court case. So hopefully he can win those
those are
one
great
day.
goals to shoot for.
Those are great goals. So
Comedy Law, yeah, we're here to play. Max, Shirelle, Keith leading the way. Lawyers with laughs and jokes to slay. Tune in, folks, it's Comedy Law today.